if face-to-face contact is something that can't be agreed, then with modern technology, with things like Zoom and Apple's FaceTime, you can easily keep in contact with children.
So that has really come into its own, and this current crisis opens the door to expand that, because it's not just about the parents, of course, it's often the grandparents who are caught up in this mess, because whilst the government has made an express exception to the no movement lockdown rules to enable children to move from one parent to another, that doesn't extend to going to see grandparents.
If parties are just separating at this moment in time, I would urge them to have a look at the CAFCAS website and also the Resolution website. Resolution is the Solicitors Family Law Association website. And that has something called a parenting plan there, which it could be very helpful. That's for longer term arrangements, but a parenting plan could be used at this moment in time to look at the sort of micromanagement issues that are going to devil everybody for the next coming weeks and months, really.
One thing I have looked at as well is there is a very useful sort of a message coming from Sir Andrew McFarlane, who is the president of the Family Division, head of Family Justice in this country. And he has addressed the issue where there are already orders in place regulating child arrangements. So it is open to a parent who feels that despite the government exception to enabling the child to see, a parent may decide, well, actually, I don't think that's a safe thing to do. Maybe the parent lives in a hotspot. Maybe there's a big distance to travel. So for some reason, it could be, there may be a perfectly good reason why that parent doesn't believe that it would be safe to exercise and implement that child arrangement order in the current circumstances. Then what this suggests is that parent is entitled to exercise their parental responsibility and just say, no, contact isn't taking place. However, on the one hand, he appears to be giving a green light to a genuinely concerned parent to say no to contact taking place for COVID-19 reasons. But on the other hand is saying, but you must be reasonable in the decision that you make in relation to that. Because because the court will look into it, and the court will be making an assessment potentially further down the line as to whether that was reasonable. So family lawyers, we talk about this relentlessly. You have to be reasonable. You always, when emotions are high and people are worried about things, they don't always make the right decisions, and you have to try and step back, whether that's on your own or by having advice, even if it's just from a good friend who's able to say, actually, I disagree, to step back and say, actually, is this reasonable, or are my actions actually being informed by a whole host of other emotional stuff that's whirling around at the same time? And it goes in front of a judge. They are going to be looking at that, and so you just need to be careful, I think, about that.
It's frustrating times, isn't it, Anne? Because the reality is that the president is suggesting that even if there is a binding order to facilitate contact, that one person exercising their parental responsibility on their own can vary the terms of that order. So if it's a mum or dad who's on the receiving end of that, it's going to be very, very frustrating. And the reality is that it can only be resolved or get justice, as they say, retrospectively months and months ahead when all this is sorted.
Yes. So, it's not good enough to just say, oh, well, it was too dangerous and that's it, no contact. You still have to, as Nick, you were saying earlier, you still have to communicate and agree an alternative way of maintaining that contact to keep it going, really.
It's critical, isn't it, really? And you've got to think outside the box. Everybody needs to be reminded that it's the right of the child to see their absent mum or dad, and the main carer has got to give careful consideration to what is genuinely in the best children's interest as opposed to anything else that might be going through one's mind at any moment in time.